The M4 Sherman was a weird tank developed in World War II. And I mean weird by, it was given a lot of credit and its fame, but it wasn't very good. This tank was armed with a 75mm cannon. Kinda simple. But that cannon wasn't very good. Now another thing to add is it had terrible hull armor. Its hull armor was 50.8mm in the front, 38.1mm on the sides, and 38.1mm in the back. That's really bad. That's really bad. I wouldn't want to drive that tank if it was like, no, don't. The turret armor was a little better. But a little, like 76.2mm on the front, 50.8 on the sides, and 50.8mm in the back. Little better, but still, like almost anything could penetrate that. It wasn't very good. Why would they make a tank so bad? Well, I mean, who knows? This tank, a Panzer IV loading high explosive anti-tank heat shell, could shoot right through the side, hit the ammo rack, blow the turret off, and guess what? Now you have a destroyed tank. Could have been brand new. One shot could have taken out a tank. I mean, that's one shot, but hey, let's look on the bright side, okay? This tank would overwhelm other tanks in numbers. If you would see like 18 Panzer IVs on a battle, you'd see like 40 of these tanks. So it would overwhelm the enemy. Get around the enemy, shoot him in the back, then it could penetrate. But that's only when it did that. When it didn't come in numbers, or it was outnumbered, yeah, might as well give up. This tank was armed with a Wright Continental R97 5C4 engine. Now, the engine could be replaced just like guns and turrets can be. That means it could make around 460 horsepower, which is equal to 18 to 48 kilometers, or in simple terms, 11 to 29 miles per hour. So, yeah, that wasn't exactly very good, but, I mean, hey, it could go somewhere. Now, that engine also brought the demise of this tank. This tank could be destroyed by anything. There are so many of these tanks just lying around in the battlefield, completely destroyed. So, was this tank terrible? Was this tank worse than any other American tank ever built? Was this... Let's just get to the question. Was it terrible? But before we talk about the question, let us cover two other variants. Now, I meant two other variants, as in the M4A3E2, which is one variant, and the other variant being the M4A3E8. Now, they're both Shermans, but let's start with the M4A3E2. The M4A3E2, it was a better variant of the tank. As you know, it looks a lot cooler and a lot bigger. Its hull was kind of the same. I mean, it had heavy armor, really heavy armor. Holy cow. It had a Ford GAA engine as well, so that would make up for its horsepower. Its horsepower was 520 horsepower, which is equal to 9 to 21 miles per hour. Yeah, not very good. Because of the thick armor on this tank, which was 101.6 in the front, 76.2 on the side, and 38.1 millimeters in the back, it would get stuck. Yeah, this tank would get stuck. It was really heavy. Now, its turret armor was pretty good as well. Its turret armor was 152.4 millimeters in the front, 152.4 millimeters on the side, and 152.4 millimeters in the back. Yeah, so each turret was really good. But now let's cover the M4A3E8. Now, these are variants of the M4. They're pretty much the same tank with upgrades. The M4A3E8 was a lot better than the M4E3E2 because, well, it had lighter hull armor. It was 63.5 millimeters in the front, 38 in the side, and 38 millimeters in the back. Now, that doesn't sound very good because it wasn't exactly very good. I mean, its turret armor was 63.5 all around the tank. But this tank was more of a sniper. It would more sit far in the back and just peck off enemies. Now, it was armed with a 75mm M3L 37 cannon, which is a lot better than any other of the American medium tanks, which made this tank really good. Yeah, really good, because it was like that. Now, this tank, I think, deserves the credit of any other tank. Now, it was pretty good. It had a Wright Continental R97 5C1, which is a lot like the other one, almost the same thing, so kind of same engine, but it could go a little faster because, you know, upgrades and stuff in the tracks. It would make 400 horsepower, equaling 30 miles per hour. Now, same engine, how does that make a difference? Well, tracks. I mean, traverse speed. So, I feel like the M4 Sherman was terrible. Yes, M4 Sherman was terrible. But the M4 A3 E8 made this tank rise to victory. That's what I believe this tank rose to. That's what made this tank so amazing. That's what made the Sherman so popular. Even though not many were made, still, that's what made these tanks so beautiful, so amazing, and I feel like the credit should be definitely given to the M4 A3 E8. Now, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and I'll see you next time.